Yeah. So, so Chris and Rafael, you guys are in the UK right now.
We are in the UK. Well, I
Uh,
am.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm in London. The business is based out of Oxford, but I go back and forth. I'm based in London.
Very nice, very nice. Oxford's nice as well.
Where
I'm
are you
in,
Where are
staying?
you based?
I'm near the shithole that is Birmingham.
Nice.
And Steve's in Poland, and I'm in Moldova. So yeah,
That's
not too far away from each other. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not like trying to connect people from US and Australia and then have a chat together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're finally live. Welcome back, everyone, to Odys Talks. Vlad the Lad, your host, and today we're tackling a dynamic approach to all things that digital strategists, founders, marketers should know, like harnessing the power of gamification and digital PR. Because, I mean, if it's not a game you're playing, then what is it? And real growth naturally isn't just about more clicks or shiny new leads. So it's more about engaging customers, building trust, creating experiences that keep people coming back, right? And this is why I brought today these three amazing gentlemen: Stephen Khanna of Endorsley, Rafael Guper of UJJI, and Chris Panteli of Linkify. You must remember Steve and Chris. They've been here on a number of occasions, but Rafael here's for the first time, so let's give him a warm welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. Cheers.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to this chat. So why don't you guys go on and introduce yourselves? Oh, one last thing. I forgot to mention that this show is brought to you by Odys Global, your one-stop marketplace for
You're in
agents
trouble.
and websites.
I'm sure
Right, guys.
Alex is watching.
Could be. I don't know. All right. So yeah, just go and introduce yourselves. Rafael, since this is your first time on the show,
Fantastic.
take the lead.
Thanks, Vlad. Thanks. Appreciate it. So yeah, Rafael Guper, co-founder of UGAI. We are essentially an AI-powered knowledge transfer platform. We help people document the knowledge they have in their minds, turning that into repeatable and scalable processes for their teams. And then that particular documentation also becomes gamified micro-learning that helps people acquire their knowledge fast and easy, straight into their day-to-day jobs. So this is us in a nutshell. I'm originally from Brazil, based in the UK. Uji is based in Oxford, and I go back and forth between London and Oxford. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Welcome to the show. So it's pronounced Uji.
Uji, that's correct.
Uji.
That's
All
correct.
right, I'll remember that.
Some people end up thinking it's an acronym, but
Yeah, that's
at
what
the
I
end of the
thought.
day, exactly. At the end of the day, it's actually Uji. It means to win and to help one in winning in Sanskrit, actually. So this idea of creating a hyper-winning environment in this growing, fast-paced world of SaaS, in particular, which is the type of companies that we usually work with.
Nice.
Right,
We
awesome.
surely need yours, mate, in the SEO space. The way you've described it, in terms of fixing the pain points, doing SOPs and all of that, but also the way what the meaning behind the name of the brand as such.
Yeah, absolutely.
SEO can get quite feisty at times.
All right, gentlemen, go on. Who's
Chris?
going to be the second?
Yeah, I'm Chris Panteli, co-founder at Linkify. We're a digital PR agency, so we focus on securing high DR. Someone got a Hoover on.
What's this noise?
That's odd.
That's
I don't
not me.
hear anything.
Then it should be you, I guess. Yep. That's on
It
your
is,
end,
Steven.
Steve.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Okay, that's
I hope
better.
it's not. I hope it's not Putin flying his plane.
Well, that would be very worrying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we do digital PR link building, editorially earned, high DR, high traffic backlinks from tier 1 publications in order to grow authority of websites, grow brand visibility, increase organic traffic, increase conversions, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's Linkify.
Awesome. Welcome back. Steve,
Yeah.
your turn.
Oh,
And
bless
his
you,
Hoover.
Chris.
Oh, bless you.
Do you still hear that in the background?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think someone's vacuuming.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it
there's
sounds
no
like
one home.
someone's vacuuming.
But there's
Huh.
no one
one's home.
home. Yeah.
Man, Halloween it has already like
There you go, mate.
gone.
Yeah,
There's no ghost vacuuming.
you've got me scared now. I'll keep looking over my shoulder during the webinar. dark shadow. Well, I'm obviously an Odys mentor, but I've just switched over from my days of WordPress. I'm now an affiliate crusader, as I like to call myself. I work for Indorsely. It's all about people who want to outsource their affiliate programs to us. So we literally grow it from the ground up. We got a massive network of micro influencers, YouTubers, affiliates in the network. And the idea is to just get your brand out to relevant people out there who then click, convert, and pretty much drive top line revenue. Easier said than done, but yeah, it's a new challenge for me, and hopefully, the one I'm already enjoying it. But let's see what the future holds.
But he hates working in his pajamas. That's a good dress today.
It is true. It is true. Sitting at home and all of that. And yeah, I need people around me. So yeah, hopefully, if I made enough money for Jamie in the next 6 months, I'm sure he can buy me a proper condo in Chiang Mai or Koh Samui, Bali.
Yeah, how was the journey so far? I mean, at Indorsely for you?
It's been exciting, man. As a startup, of course, the idea was our baseline software, just like First Promoter or Partner Stack out there. You can track affiliates, do the payments and all of that. But that's made for $49, $99 a month. That is fucking loose change. And both Chris and Vlad, you guys know me. I don't deal with loose change. So, the idea was to, spot a gap in the market. And the biggest gap in the market was this. People kind of think that they can start an affiliate program, plug it in, and forget about it. Of course, it doesn't work that way. It's exactly like your sales approach. You need to constantly be in touch with high-touch affiliates, so they're engaged, they're warmed up, they become your best friends, so they do put out trendy, rank-worthy content out there, which drives the growth. So,
and what better way to think of a well-executed affiliate program than the gamification of your sales process?
100%.
I agree.
100%.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come back at some point.
Absolutely. All right, let's kick things off.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
We're finally live. Well, we've been live for 10 minutes. All right. So the first thing I wanted to ask all of you, like in your respective experiences, how does gamification or strategic PR specifically drive growth for companies in competitive digital markets? And I mean, well, the digital PR in itself is a competitive market, right? Affiliate marketing is a competitive market. I don't know that much about knowledge transition training, but I guess it has competition of its own as well. But so, yeah, that's the question. How does gamification strategic PR specifically drive growth for companies in competitive digital markets, in your experiences?
I think Chris is the best person to answer that, digital PR.
Well, it's all about, for us, digital PR is all about brand visibility. And as we're seeing a transition of the SERPs and obviously the release of like Search GPT now is becoming increasingly competitive on the one side of actually where it is that you're going to be seen, who's surfacing you as a brand. And in order to compete and be visible, you need to be talked about in more places than ever. So that's what we're seeing, especially, you know, if you start playing with Search GPT and seeing who's being recommended. I mean, it's actually not that good. I don't know if you've used it yet, but I was doing some messing around with it. It still hallucinates and gives garbage recommendations and stuff. But it's taking its source material from respected places. So you need, in order to grow visibility and revenue as a brand, it's now is more important than ever to be engaged in PR activity and represent your company and your brand in the way that you want it to be represented. We also have the ability now to control the narrative of how we are positioned in to our existing consumers, potential customers, and the way to do that is by being out there. And digital PR is a great way to do that.
Talking of gamification, Vlad, aren't we all playing the game right now? Being on the webinar, isn't the Odys webinar a game? Let's be honest.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously on a lighter note, but this is something me and Jamie were discussing the other day as well. That as and when we keep onboarding more clients, in order to have a kind of competition within our affiliates as well, the idea was to kind of gamify things. Okay, the top 5, you know, have like a leaderboard, like we have it on our Vova app right now, for example, at the Chiang Mai SEO conference. You know, it encourages engagement. It encourages people to come up with creative, out-of-the-box ideas, which you could leverage into. But I think, anyways, gamification, especially within the SEO world or digital PR space, you need to break down the monotonous information which is going on, you know. And I think softwares like UG AI now, who obviously have got gamification as part of their SOPs and training modules and all of that, but I'm sure Raf 6 months down the line, 8 months down the line would be saying, do you know what, I need to make my software more industry specific. Let's assume he starts getting a lot of signups from SEO. So clearly he would have to probably, you know, factor in, right, how does the gamification method influence a lot of my SEO clients who could then see the growth accordingly. I don't know, Raf, maybe I'm talking from my backside, but yeah.
No, this is
Aren't we
spot
all?
on. No, I love this. Thanks so much for touching on that, Stephen. At the end of the day, I'm a big believer in gamification, but more than gamification itself, I think we need to understand what actually fuels the principle of gamification, which is behavioral science and behavioral economics. It's what makes actually people tick at the end of the day, right? So this is what comes down to how you actually get that engagement going. Here at UG, we've always been trying to essentially understand what really makes people continue to want to come back to use our product. Either if you're a leader that is building those SOPs, transforming that knowledge that's in your mind into documentation, and then also building all of the training modules that are also going to become gamified for your people, but also for the people that will be going through all of that training. So you're quite right. There will be potentially different ways in which you can build specific gamified experiences for each and every vertical because of the nature of their industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So within the world of SEO, which we were touching on, there might be, for example, a specific leaderboard that you can actually bring in with points that are essentially awarded because of a particular behavior or action that is taken that is relevant to that industry, that vertical, or streaks, or whatever tasks that you are essentially rewarding people for their actions on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Speaking of that, I wanted to touch on a very cool business from a friend of mine called Sirkan Farah. He's basically pulled together native engagement, and essentially what they do is they build gamification as an API so that you can plug it onto your own product. So it just essentially becomes a very simple way for you to actually just fuel the engagement of your product with pre-developed experiences that at the end of the day just plug in and help you make sure that you are driving the highest levels of engagement, and so reducing churn, driving upsell, because then you're proving that there is stickiness of your product. At the end of the day, all we want is stickiness, really. So yes, that's spot on, Steve. I think that was a very good way of throwing that point out there when it comes to like different industry and verticals.
Correct, mate. I mean, we're all in a healthy, competitive environment, no matter which vertical we're talking about. But if you, what I want to touch upon is what you tapped into, the behavioral science. I think there's a little child in all of us, and at school, that the juices which got us flowing were the competitive spirit, make everything gamified, and if you can make it fun and really competitive out there with a carrot right at the end, it could be a fucking candy, mate, at the end of it. But it just drives human behavior. You give them something to run after in a fun, bantery manner, which kind of breaks down barriers and stereotypical, images out there. It always would get engagement, and I couldn't say it more. And I think that's why I probably have been slightly successful in the SEO space, because I'm not an SEO. I'll never be an SEO. I even fucking reinvented SEO as not search engine optimization, but Steve engine optimization or sales engine optimization, whatever you call it. But you need that, because SEO space sometimes can get a bit boring, can get a bit nerdy with all the algorithm updates, link anchor text diversification. How does your backlink profile look like? But if you can gamify that, as you said, and we, like Chris can at Linkify, plug it into that methodology, I'm assuming his discovery goals through gamification will probably attract more brands to him, and they'll probably end up closing more deals because it'll make a lot more sense to him. I've been on calls with fucking amazing SEO managers of brands, and they've got fucking no idea how link building should be done. But if you break it down, and Chris, you and me have had this chat so many times, mate, the ability to close a lot of deals or reduce churn is to simplify SEO to our clients who simply understand it in a nutshell. This is what will happen. That's what I need to invest. And this is the forecast I get as an ROI. And if you can then gamify that further, it becomes a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I think it does come down to really understanding what are the behaviors that you are innately getting from the people that are engaging with your product in that particular industry, right? So you mentioned competitiveness. I would love to touch on social proof as well. People like to show what they do, what they get off the back of what they do, all of that good stuff. So this is another trigger, another lever that we pull a lot here at Uji. But it will vary from industry to industry. It will vary from product to product. It will vary from target audience to target audience and ICP to ICP. So it just really comes down to actually really understanding your customer, really understanding who you're actually working with on a daily basis, and then what are the social levers you can pull off the back of this so that you can gamify that in a manner that actually makes sense to your audience, that will ultimately then drive that engagement that you want. I think that's the secret, if there is a secret, really.
Raf, are you seeing more of an adoption of your tool on the product side, so gamification of the deliverables of the service and the products, or internally on like team management, adoption of SOPs, internal operations, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I think for us, and I would like to risk myself in saying that overall, it's less about adoption and more about retention. So gamification will help you to get your people that are already adopted to continue to come back. I don't think you're actually going to acquire necessarily a customer because you're gamified, because nowadays it's like AI. Oh, we're gamified or whatever that is, if you know what I mean. So like you actually need to be able to pull people in because of one of the two things. Either you're like cutting down costs for them, or you're making them drive further revenue. That's it. That's what's going to get your people to adopt your product at the end of the day. Now, once they're in, how do you continue to make sure that they're coming back? And that's when you're actually just making your product more fun, just making it easier to use. Like Steve mentioned, breaking things down into manageable little wins every day, as we call it here at Uji. So that you're also not throwing at them like a big chunk of stuff in one go, because that's when you actually lose people. It just becomes overwhelming and they just switch off. So yeah, for us, it's more about retention than it is for adoption. But then that's where you see lower churn and further upselling, right? Because if people love your product, they just continue to come back, and then you can charge more for it.
Can you give any real life examples? One area of the Linkify process that we're looking to improve and make better, because it's not a fun experience. Nobody likes to fill out onboarding forms, and we need quite a bit of information during the onboarding process. And the more information they give us and the more detail within that onboarding information, the better that we can execute those campaigns for the client. So have you got any, I mean, I assume that's a great thing to gamify. Have you seen that being done successfully?
Yeah, that's a very good point there. And in fact, if you're looking to roll out gamification, I would urge you to speak to Sir Khan, because basically what they do as a service, as a software as a service at the end of the day, is really understand what is the best sort of gamification for your particular requirements, your particular challenge, and then just with an API, plug it into your day-to-day processes and so forth. So he's more of an expert to talk about this than I am, even though like I know from the world of Uji what drives gamification results for us at the end of the day. But I'll give you an example. Essentially, we are just trying to reward people for each and every action that they take on Uji, from the moment like the leader pays their subscription all the way through to like submitting a particular knowledge piece that will help with building that SOP, all the way through to like sharing that with the people in their team, all the way through to like having other people chip in to those SOPs, and even like review a new video lesson or a quiz or a test or a training piece that has been launched on their knowledge environment. So I think it all comes down to understanding your customer journey. Where is there a drop-off rate when people are on that customer journey? So you mentioned like the forms, they could be particularly extensive. That's not a problem necessarily if you are actually requiring that information. I think obviously first and foremost, what sort of information do you really need to get out of people as soon as you onboard a client? Can you get some of that information later? But if you can actually break it down into small little pieces and reward them for each and every little piece in that particular process, mate, I'm sure that will drive results. I think that will certainly lead to lower drop-off rates at the end of the day.
Yeah, that sounds great. I can see that working as well. I mean, I get feedback on our onboarding process as being pretty good compared to other agencies anyway. So I know it's something that customers are consciously thinking about. They want a smooth process. They don't want 8 emails once they've purchased something. They want a single email. They want to know exactly where they've got to go. They want to know what they've got to fill out once it's been filled out, what the next steps are. That it's got to be a smooth, simple process. So I love the idea of gamifying that as well. Maybe I'm interested to know what sort of rewards as part of that gamified system can you offer though? I mean, I don't think my customers would want any more nude pictures of Stephen because they've got all the ones that exist. So.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. That's why I had that, cheeky
So-
smile on my face. Like, what would be the
Yeah.
reward? Could be.
I'm just waiting to roll out that reward on UGAI. Actually, like I'm sure my customers would want those too.
Your servers will crash. Make sure you've got the bandwidth.
Oh my God, I'll have to. I'll probably go bankrupt with the cloud computing storage with all of those nudes.
Yeah.
And then add James Dooley to the mix as well, and that becomes a proper soft porn going on.
What was
my
that?
God,
What was
so
that?
good, so good.
Search request, sexiest girl in Manchester or something like that, right?
Oh,
James
there's
Dooley.
there's plenty of them. Or the one he did with Catherine Dash. It wasn't obviously. He turned it into a female Casabella Dash.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah,
he
yeah.
ranked him, and then I remember he was getting a bit of a flack from the women in SEO. He had to take that article down very quickly.
So good, so good.
Yeah, so
Going back
Go-
to your question, Chris,
Yeah.
I think it'll always come down to one of the two or both at the end of the day, which is either social rewards, so actual digital rewards, or real life rewards. At Uji, we try to roll out both and to do it with relevance. We've kind of like had some experience in the past with actually just throwing out any reward in there that we thought people could want, and then like it was just there for the sake of it, never actually drew any adoption of that particular feature. So then we just pulled it back and started to really understand what actually people want at the end of the day. So from a social rewards perspective, obviously you can do all of the badges things and just keep on giving them extra points that help them climb up a leaderboard. Those points can then be exchanged on UGAI for like further avatar personalization, or even your exchange for real life rewards at the end of the day. And that's where I think things become interesting. So for example, exchanging those points for Uber vouchers or Deliveroo vouchers, or even what we do sometimes with clients that are willing to give it a go is like, can you exchange however many points for a day off? For example, you complete your training, you get those points, you get a day off, you get an extra day of holiday, or whatever that is. Or for example, let's say your product is something that your own employees would like to have. Can you give them a discount of your product, or can you give them a freebie of your product, or an experience, or whatever that is? People are people, right? They are not employees. That's the thing that we always need to bear in mind. So what can you give them outside of work as well for the great work that they do at work? Like I think it's that easy. Always going back to like the fact that they're human beings. I think that is the way to actually reward them for their time doing stuff at work. I think that is like my way of going about with things.
Correct. I was thinking, because there are plenty of vouchers out there which kind of never really have any eyes set on it. You could use that, Chris, once you gamify that as a reward within the fill out the onboarding form. But also some of the relevant services within, cross-selling to all our mates within the SEO industry. You could even actually incentivize Linkify on it. So you offer a relevant service which could go hand in hand with digital PR, but does not have a conflict of interest. So you introduce a promo code, but if they click and they convert, you get some commission out of that anyways in the back end.
My brain's whirling now. Anyway, I'm thinking like it can also like it can benefit on both sides of the coin as well. So at Linkify, we do two types of PR, like inbound expert quote and outbound to journalists. So we're either answering journalist requests that are actively looking for them, or we're going out with stories, we're making them up. The sole purpose is to get great coverage, great links. So I'm thinking if we could gamify the user experience whereby it benefits us as an agency. So, hey, if we get you a fantastic link, go and share that on LinkedIn, share that on X, share that on social media. That earns you some points. More points you get, then I'm thinking like unlock. So they can unlock additional services from us, like Steve mentioned, maybe adjacent services that we could do in tangent with another company, such as Endorsely. Maybe we have a large affiliate client. We could say, hey, unlock 1 billion points and you can get a 1% discount from Endorsely. So there's so many things that you can do. I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, what Native does at the end of the day is it creates these challenges that you basically launch, and then like your community just adopts into that challenge, and then they're in. And so you just are being incentivized to actually take action on those particular challenges, and then you get the points, you get the streaks, you get the rewards, and all of that good stuff. So I think that's an interesting one. But you were asking another.
Who's that, Raf? Which tool?
So it's called Native Engagement. I'll send you the link, and I'll put you in touch with Sir Khan. He's a great chap of mine, also based in London. Very, very worth giving it a go. We are basically also going to have them essentially just taking our gamification to the next level as well, because what we did in the past before they existed was we hard coded all of the gamified features that we have on our platform. Now, what if you can just like subscribe to something rather than hard code it? You're basically like just driving so much time and cost efficiency at the end of the day. So I think that's where they come in. But another thing that I just remembered now is that we are going to be rolling out something super cool, which is blockchain enabled certifications, essentially off the back of your particular training that's completed. Not only that you complete, but as a learner, but also that you build as a leader. So for example, let's say Vlad here needs to build an SOP on how to identify the right leads and nurture those leads throughout the pipeline, so that everyone in his sales team can actually follow, getting his SDRs, his AEs ramped up to full time to value faster. Once he builds that documentation, that SOP, that process, that playbook, whatever, he essentially gets a certificate on the blockchain that says he is someone that knows the way of actually acquiring customers off the back of identifying the right leads and nurturing the right leads at Odys. And so it's never going anywhere. You have it on the blockchain, it's yours. And again, it's going back to social proof, because that's what people want. People want to be able to brag about whatever it is that they have earned, but even in more depth, what it is that they have as a great professional, for example, in terms of the skills, etc., etc., etc. So again, that is another gamified feature that we will have being rolling out in 2025.
Wow.
Chris, I was thinking, just like any other digital PR agency, when you guys are doing your outreach to journalists, pretty much everyone pitches almost in an identical manner. But if you can take in the gamification aspect, maybe chop it down into smaller pieces, and then reach out to the journalist as a standout email, just like Baby does with the cat memes. That's the reason why she gets a lot of attention as well. That could be another way. Your turnaround times for links going live could be a lot faster than your response rates might go through the roof as well. Just an idea.
It could work well with reactive campaigns, definitely. So the short, fast stuff. There's loads you could do with it. And then I could even gamify with the actual process within the team as well, and create some healthy competition with campaign ideas. And then with Endorsely as well, there's loads of things that you can be doing from a user and an affiliate perspective as well, isn't there? I suppose it's the future, isn't it? In the era of AI and everything that we're dealing with now, it's it just makes sense to do it, and you're going to be left behind, I suppose, if you're not doing it.
I feel that within the affiliate marketing world, like it's almost a shame not to be leveraging gamification. Like you have such a big community, such a big user base of people that want to be engaged. How do you actually make them like more engaged, and just an extra millimeter that you add in terms of engagement when you have that big a community like Endorsely has made, like the results will be like just fundamental for growth, and every little addition to that will certainly add a lot of commercial results all the way down to the bottom line, man.
That's good. That's good advice.
Here's something I was thinking while you guys were discussing all of that, is that all of you guys are working both with clients, let's say like the outside audience, let's say, but you also have like the internal audience, right? Your teams. So one thing is to keep the client base, the audience engaged, right? And the other thing is to keep your team engaged. What is the most challenging thing to do for each one of you?
I would say as 100% remote company, it's more challenging to keep the team engaged. Actually, I'd say it's a double-edged sword, because it's more challenging in the sense that I imagine it's a lot easier in an office, although our team is awesome and they want to engage. As leaders, you almost feel as though you need to be engaging your audience as a priority, but that's definitely not the case. But like, that's what drives revenue. So it's an easier one to sort of go, I'm sure they're all fine. But obviously an engaged team drives results, which drives more revenue. So yeah, it's tricky. But for us, I'd probably say it's more, it's slightly less of a focus, just because we're 100% remote. But I know our team cries out for like engagement activities. So
especially for the non-client facing roles where they don't really have any bonus or commission structure in there, just a pat on the back or you did a great job can only go, so you need that engagement. Like, when I was at YPress, the order processing team, or the one which looked after our platform, boring as fuck, but you still need to keep them motivated, because someone needs to do that. It's like taking the trash out kind of job. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you gamify that, you clearly you reduce the churn on that end as well, and they all then feel part of the team, and it's the same culture resonating. And I think all of us as business leaders, I think we've probably made that mistake a lot of times, where we've rewarded the ones who really either cut the costs or drive the revenue, but we kind of forget about the backbenchers, if I can call them backbenchers. But they again an equally important cog in the wheel. It's like restaurant terms. When I used to do restaurants, the most bitch slapped position in the restaurant was the kitchen porter, who was doing the fucking plates and all of that, standing there, and that bloke was probably ignored from every. So those kind of positions, I'm pretty sure within our setup in our agencies do exist, and I think that gamification will probably re-engage them, get them to do their jobs a lot better, and then probably come up with ideas, because that's what you need really in it. You need the engagement, which gets their creative juices flowing. So A, they don't leave us, but B, importantly, they start contributing more actively. Being reactive, they start being proactive, because they feel valued.
And it could probably allow us as leaders to identify talent in areas which may have otherwise gone like unnoticed or unrecognized. If you see someone highly engaged, doing really, really well in that gamificated environment, then it may gamified. Damn it! That's a new word. I want 5 points for creating a new word. All right.
Yeah, that's indeed.
That's like Justin Trudeau being grilled by his opposition leader in Parliament, and that guy also created a word out of which did not exist.
I prefer my word, but yeah. another benefit of gamification, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I love the question so much. Vlad, you kind of like hit the nail on its head, because it's very common to just see businesses, especially like my customers. Usually that happens quite a lot. They are all in sort of like growth mode, and they need to make sure that they're keeping their clients happy, and they're upselling their clients and just bringing in more clients and all of that good stuff. You forget about your internal team, especially in times in which we're going through like an economic downturn like we have now. You're not going to be looking to spend that much on anything that will not have an ROI directly, and it's very hard for you to actually pin down any engagements from a commercial standpoint directly in like a month's time or 3 months time or even up to 6 months time, when you are looking to actually get your people engaged. That's the sort of thing that takes a while for you to see the results. However, it is very clear that when your people are not engaged, there's lower productivity, there's higher turnover as well, and you don't want your people leaving your business, especially when they have not documented that knowledge that's in their brain. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be having to start all over again when you hire someone new, and you're going to have to train that person again and again and again, and the processes aren't there, and so it just becomes a big mess. So what I'm saying here is basically that I remember that when the pandemic kicked out, we saw loads of startups going for this sort of like gamified environment, or build your social media for your business. And there were some actually cool solutions that I saw out there, very much playing down the lines of like banter and all of that within your own business, and giving kudos to other people and stuff like that. Now, I think that is actually something that works, especially when you're a fully remote company. But at some point, people get bored and they just go back to their day-to-day things. That is why we here at Uji work on the gamification side of things for your internal teams, when it is closely involved with work, with actual development of your people, and getting them to where you want them to be when it comes to their career, when it comes to their role on that job in particular. Again, going back to humans, they have a life outside of work, right? They don't necessarily just want to be interacting with the people at work. And so, like, just thinking that building a social media within your company is going to actually help them become the happiest person that they can be, I'm not a big believer in that. But actually, if you're helping them to become better at their job, because work is work, and you're gamifying that process and making them feel great for the professional that they are, that's where I think you can actually unlock the full productivity of your people, and really take engagements to actually drive commercial results at the end of the day. So that's my view on it.
Oh, thank you. Would it be wrong to assume that internal gamification, let's say, should be done really, really subtly, I'd say, so that it's not obvious that your
Hunger
boss
Games.
is trying to put you in a game of sources, but it should feel like natural and, well, not exactly fun, but it's like something that would drive an action after action after action after action.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I think at the end of the day, this has always been around, even though it wasn't a term when it comes to you thinking it as gamification. But at the end of the day, like, people do stuff at work because they want to be seen, because they want to get a pay rise, because they want to get a promotion. There's no other reason as to why you'd be doing more than you actually need to do to get your salary at the end of the day, apart from like just making more money, which is at the end, which is like you just becoming more financially stable or richer, whatever it is your objective that you have, or feeding your ego, which is like getting that promotion and just getting that higher position in the business, right? People would do whatever they could to actually get that, which was like, I don't know, organizing the end of the year party, or putting together a sort of experience for the team, or a workshop, or inviting someone over for a talk, or whatever that is. Whatever that people could actually do that would make them be seen within the business would be actually something that some people would raise their hand and say, hey, I'll do this, right? Now, if you can actually help people do that in a way that is not perceived as brown nosing, if you know what I mean, well, by all means, it will surely drive that engagement. So I would say doing it with a light touch, not over the top. Yeah, 100%. That would be the way I would do, and that is the way that I do it at Uji, and how we do it in our product for our customers as well. It's not like over the top shouting to everyone out there, "Hey, I'm here!" You know, like it's just being a bit more light touch at the end of the day with it.
Yeah. Oh.
I could see HR of many companies jumping up to the gamification idea, and then at the same time, the CFO sitting in his room, trying to vision this out, right? So we're putting a competition so people would win, right? They might come back to me and ask me for a pay rise before the year ends. Have we had that? Because you know how it is. We all talk about finding quality staff, and we all want to hire great people out there. We all want to keep them motivated, and I could be crucified for what I'm about to say, but there are not too many committed people left out there. Everyone's a fucking tooth fairy, a snowflake out there. They collapse very quickly. So I'm, without sounding negative, because I'm all up for keeping the team engaged, but I'm assuming there's going to be a backlash, or there's going to be a negative effect of it as well, for a very small percentage, where people would try and abuse this gamification as well internally and say, oh, listen, I've done this and I saw that. So you're actually giving them a gun to shoot back on you and say, oh, actually, yeah, you're right. I know it should tie up with the KPIs and all of that, but probably a thought and a conversation for another day. So please ignore me.
I think it's awesome to be the devil's advocate in that way. But go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, on the back of Stephen's point, I was going to ask you, Raf, thinking about what gamification is in terms of being like a behavioral science. There probably is a small percentage of people that just it's not right for as a concept, or as an implementable strategy. It's something that some people either on your team or as customers will be, it will be not something that will have a positive impact, I imagine.
Absolutely. And I think it's such a good point there that you brought, Steve, because at the end of the day, you're right. There will always be the people that will try to rig the system, and they'll trying to be, I don't know, just being the bullshit person that they are. Let's put it like that. But that is why I think it is also so interesting to have gamification tied to stuff related to work. I'll tell you why, because essentially, if you're the CFO, someone goes ahead and tries to rig the system and basically says, hey, I've completed all my training. Now I deserve to, but they've completed their training. So it's good. It's related to work. It should drive results. Or for example, hey, I've completed all of the SOPs that were asked for me to complete. Now I should get something in return. Yes, you should get something in return, because like you've done something that will actually drive results for the business. Now, if you're basically just putting it out there as something like, send 100 kudos to people in your business for something they've done. Fucking hell, man. People would be like, kudos. Hey, here's my 100 kudos. And then what does that do for the business? fuck all, you know? So that's where I think work is work, leisure is leisure, play is play. There has to be a very intricate tie into what it is that you are going to get off the back of your particular challenges, the actual goals that you have. So KPIs is the word, man. You mentioned that well, and if you have the way of actually pinning that down effectively, then there shouldn't be too much of a problem in actually rolling it out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. As long as the message is clear when you roll out the gamification approach, and they very clearly know that this is not it's not extra work, because we're actually helping them, to have a laugh while they're being at work, which should drive better results. It has zero impact to your KPIs; they stay the same, and your future within the existing company, bonuses, salary increases, only happen when that KPI, that needle moves. With or without the gamification. Fuck it, you don't have to adopt it if you don't like it. Just get on with it. Because yeah, there'll be certain personalities who would say, "Yeah, I don't need the gamification. I'm fucking motivated enough. I'll deliver." Do you know what I'm saying? But there will
I
be
think,
some. Sorry, go
yeah.
on.
No, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that the value needs to be on the side of the business and growth, but also they have to understand when they're actively engaging in that gamified task that it's like Raf said, right? Am I doing an SOP in order to complete the SOP and do my job properly, well, better, or am I just sending 100 kudos for no apparent reason in order to get some bullshit points in something that doesn't make sense? So it's got to make sense, across the board, and deliver value across the board, and then and I imagine as well you can monitor that, track that, and adapt and change as well depending on the results that you see.
Absolutely. Yeah, the analytics off the back of that will be fundamental, so that you can just continue to iterate it as you go. So yeah, it's always a trial and error thing as well, right? And some cultures will just not work in some particular businesses because their culture is not necessarily there for it. I mean, it's I can imagine like those very, very corporate businesses that people wear suits and stuff, and you asking people to send over a kudos or whatever. Like, fucking hell, it's not gonna work, man. With kudos my ass.
Yeah. I think the gamification thing could also perhaps work for us as business owners. When we're doing performance appraisals, I wish people could be a lot more critical of what they don't like in the company, because a lot of people are scared of telling the truth. So if you gamify that, maybe it gives them that confidence, or at least gets them thinking a lot more. Okay, fine, I can be a little bit more honest with my boss as well. Do you know what I'm saying? They probably subconsciously feel, oh, Chris or Raf or Steve have got a softer side. I could be a lot more open about it. So we clearly benefit from that, because we sometimes would hear things which might be hard to take, but they are so important. People
Yeah.
get pissed off by fucking the window was open at a 37.5 degree angle rather than a 45-degree angle at times. That could, kickstart a bit of a negative thing. So, yeah. But I definitely see the sense. I mean, gamification has, lots more ups than downs. I think 8 out of 10 times it's still going to do wonders, 100%.
If done properly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a matter of like strapping it on your website that you're gamified as a solution, or that you have gamified your internal employee experience, or whatever that is. Like, doing for the sake of it, better not to do,
Yeah.
to be honest. And I think there are some people like Sir Khan again that know how to do it properly, especially if you understand that human beings are human beings, and understanding what motivates them, what makes them tick. That will actually be fundamental, so that you tie that back to your objectives, your key results that you want at the end of the day to achieve. So I think that is the ultimate goal here, as for each and every business, doing that for internal teams or for external parties. Just really remember that people are people, they're human beings, they have their own social behaviors. You can't go wrong if you have that at heart.
Yeah. Here's an idea, Vlad. And I was thinking, all the link building marketplaces, a lot of them, not most of the times, but at times struggle with turnaround times for their links because these publishers can be fucking lazy, or they just couldn't be bothered, or had a piss up last night. So if you have that gamification approach between all the publishers which are there, and you have a reward at the end of it, and these publishers see each other, of how they've performed, who's on the leaderboard, that also gives a bit of a soft kick up their backside to start performing better. And then, marketplaces like, White Press or whoever else is out there can certainly benefit. So the order processing team, rather than chasing the publishers kind of start responding back because you're hitting a nerve and you're being different at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds interesting. One last question for all of you guys. So I assume that all of you are mostly, probably not just, but mostly work with entrepreneurs and business owners, company owners, whatever you call them, right? And naturally, due to the nature of the businesses that Linkify is doing, Endorsely is doing, White Press is doing. I know you're not with White Press anymore, but still, I mean, you've just been doing this just a couple of months back, right? Odys as well. It's like, yeah, it's a digital environment, but people come from all the different cultures and backgrounds and stuff like that. And sometimes what I've noticed, especially in the, let's say, SEO community, I'm doing this just to sort of like generalize it. People seem to be too reserved, probably, and not jumping in on something that might seem like a great idea to do for a company. Let's say company A thinks that, oh, I'm going to launch this campaign and it's going to drive, I don't know, engagement, sales, blah, 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 blah. Because it just, I mean, I know the community, I know how it works. And then happens little to nothing happens, right? So how do you, or would you tackle situations like that? I know, I mean, getting the takeaways, analyzing the results and stuff like that, but like, what would your approach be in general?
Well, the gamification thing within the reserved SEO community where they don't actually come out of their shell a lot? Is that what you're asking?
Sort of, yeah.
I mean, my opening email line would be, apologies in advance for trying to make you laugh. I don't know if you want to roll out that strategy. No, mate.
Proof of concept, I would say.
Yeah, definitely proof of concept for sure. But I think we're all on the precipice where I think all SEO agency owners realize that it's not about tech brain dump onto a client now. They need to shorten their pitch. They need to be a lot more likable, whether it's through email blasts. Email blast could be fucking a perfect proof of concept to measure if the gamification would work or not. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know, Chris. Any more ideas?
Yeah, I think social proof adoption is always going to be better when you can just see other people using something and achieving results with it, and then honest and engagement with the community to share those results. So not being salesy, but sharing what you've done and the results. Those are the people I engage with the most. But yeah, I think we'll start seeing it. I think it'll happen naturally anyway as we start seeing it. Like Raf said earlier, it's going to be something which everybody is going to have to do at some point to survive. It's like if you're not utilizing AI within your business now, like, are you still going to be a business in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Like, do you know what I mean? It's going to have to be something which is so ubiquitous that it gets adoption by everyone at some point anyway.
All right. Thanks for sharing your ideas and thoughts. It's time for us to wrap up. Thank you guys for joining the conversation, for taking the time. And Rafael, once again, welcome to the show. And one of the main things I've been thinking of during this episode is that I would love to have you in one episode together with Mad Singers at the very least. that would be an amazing episode. All right. Before we turn the live stream off, I just need to want to mention that our team is going to travel to Sigma Europe in Malta next week, and we're also going to be present at Shanghai ICO conference the week after. So yeah, if you're anywhere there, just make sure to drop by, find us, and say hi, and yeah, just have a chat and whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for having
we
me.
need to get
Vlad.
Raf to one of our SEO conferences.
Yeah,
It'd
absolutely.
be fantastic. It'd be fantastic. My pleasure. And yeah, great to actually put a face to the name to all of you, and let's stay connected. It's my pleasure
Absolutely.
to join. And yeah, just hit me up.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Let's stay in touch.
Brilliant.
All right.
Cheers,
Awesome.
guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank
Until next
you.
time.